You ready, babe?
I think I am.
3 and 2 and 1. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to SIGLERinPLACE.
Howdy, pals.
I had to take a stress week off.
Normally we call it vacation. Most of the time, people call it vacation.
Yeah.
And Scott does working vacations. But this time, thankfully, we were with our very good friends, Marie and Stephen, and actually relaxing and enjoying a little bit of time with friends because, you know, we've all missed that in the last couple of years. And Scott decided, instead of doing an office hours from there, which would have been fun, he wanted to hang out with them instead, which I love. So we're so glad to be back. We're so glad you guys are with us. We got a lot. Where's my script?
Over. Your script?
It's
right
here.
There. Okay. And those are pretty consistent.
Oh,
all
look.
right.
It's new. We got a new bookshelf.
We did some work on the bookshelf. Mm-hmm. A little shout out. We're going to talk about CRYPT writing, and CRYPT writing has me a little shout out. Hello, Brian. Yes, sorry. Hello, everybody. So we'll get on with everything. But what we got coming up, it's National Puppy Day. We got to talk about
We're
that.
going to show you our puppies. I'm not sure if you've ever seen them before. I will tell you, I'm part of my HOA here in this community. I'm the secretary of the HOA. And last night was our HOA meeting. And I was like, there's a whole bunch of things, you know, making sure get done and fixed. And I was like, I walk my dogs every day in this complex. I can just take photos. And they were like, I don't know. Are you sure? So I took photos today. And in every one, my dogs are in the photo.
Smart.
Because it's National Puppy Day.
We've got junkie pics. We've got pup dates. We've got a CRYPT update. Hopefully many of you will be happy to hear about that. And human experimentation. Sigler human experimentation. Once again, this week we try plant-based beef jerky. I guess it'd be called plant jerky. And then keeping things on the short side, we have a friend in town that we are heading out to dinner with as we continue to experiment with this crazy concept called leaving the house. We're still working on it. It's still very nerve-wracking every time. And that is it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you are not signed up for the newsletter, sign up for the newsletter. We got stuff coming your way. Those of you who are not signed up for our phone alert, today you missed a phone. I sent a phone alert today. It was the best phone alert anyone's ever sent ever. It had a camel on it. A camel, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not signed up for our text alerts, and you ain't getting no camel. That's the problem going on right there.
As you guys know, every first Saturday of the month, our good friend and today's birthday boy, Steve Rickeberg, hosts a junkie happy hour hangout. And we will miss this one. I think most of it, I might be there at the end of the night because we're doing two friend things in the same week. And last week we did other friend things. It's insane. So I'll jump in if I can, but I don't think that it will be until much later, and if at all. But it is super fun. I try to jump in if we're at home this week, and last month I also wasn't there. But join this week. It's a handful of great folks. You can come and go as you please, especially if you're outside the U.S. and you always have to watch this on after the fact. You can get a little junkie time with your junkie friends, and the details are right there. It's the normal, if you're part of the event on Facebook, it's the normal Zoom for that.
And we're going to alter the script a little bit right now. We're going to go into the books part of things. But what we can say is Story Smack is on hiatus until July. So none of Rob Otto's smiling face and great last 5 minutes of planning cosplay. We're going to, we'll be back in July for that. But right now, Wayne just commented that he thought Mount Fitzroy was just snazzy, was just a neato book. So let's get over to, there we are. Here we get Speaking of Mount
Martin,
Fitzroy,
nice
ladies and gentlemen, we have now approached.
And Howard, nice to see you. Sorry.
It's okay. We're approaching 3,500 reviews, which is great for a sequel. 3,434 right now. If you listen to it on Audible, ladies and gentlemen, get over there, leave a review. Leave your Amazon.
I did do the thriller there because I don't actually know how to flex, but I know that this is how thriller starts. So I did that.
I prefer to think that's Macho Man's. Randy Macho Man Savage. God rest his soul. If you are an Audible, leave reviews at Audible. If you are at Amazon, leave reviews at Amazon. If you're on both, leave reviews at both. And don't forget Goodreads. Those are very snazzy. So those of you who liked Mount Fitzroy, make sure you leave reviews in all of those places. Reviews sell books. It's the second best thing you can, no, third best thing. First, buy stuff. Second, word of mouth. Yeah. Second is word of mouth. Tell all your pals.
Pizza.
No, third is reviews.
Oh,
then
right,
pizza.
right.
Third is reviews.
Right.
Unless you put reviews on a pizza. That would
Yeah.
really be something.
Hey, Jude, nice to see you. I love
And
you.
then Earth Core still cranking along too. We're heading towards 12,000 reviews for Earth Core. Same speech, same sermon. If you have not reviewed Earth Core on Audible, please do so. And of course on Amazon as well. We have far fewer reviews on Amazon than we do on Audible because we're such an audio-centric author.
And we get quite frequently, I'd say at least once a week, probably more than once a week, we get an email from someone saying, hey, I really like your stuff. I want to do what works best for you. What is the best way that you make the most money? And that's kind of irrelevant because we sign up for a contract that you get to buy it any way you want with all the providers that we work with. And we want to be good business partners with them. But if you ever have had that thought, that the review is the thing you can do for us that helps us more than anything else because those are evergreen. They stay, especially if it's a good one, it stays forever.
It's very helpful.
It's very helpful.
We'll answer Howard's question in a second, but I will tell you guys, you will probably see less of me posting stuff on Facebook, which I think you've already seen over the past couple of weeks. Howard, we finished season 1 of Monster of the Week, and we don't know when we will bring that back for season 2. We will bring it back eventually, but right now I'm slammed. So less Monster of the Week, Story Smack on hiatus. You're seeing less stuff at scottsigler.com, and you're going to see less stuff on Facebook, less stuff on Twitter, because ladies and gentlemen, I'm up against it. I'll get to that in one moment. But Stone Rules episode 26 is up. Stone Rules episode 27 will be coming up for you very, very shortly. Steve and Allie combined to make all that stuff available for everybody, and it's quite great.
Yeah, and I will say I was actually responding to somebody just now, so I missed all the things that Scott said. I heard some of them, but the next 10 to 12 weeks are very incredibly busy for both of us, and especially for Scott. So we're discussing a handful of things with, like Scott said, with Steve, with Allie, with all of the people who work for us, with us to make cool stuff for cool people like you. You'll see probably a handful of changes. We have agreed to do SIGLERinPLACE until June at the very least because the pandemic is sort of changing. But we are discussing potentially moving it, and you'll hear a little bit more about that. But we're doing a lot of things to give Scott blocks of writing time so that we can meet these deadlines and you guys can finally get the CRYPT. So more on that probably soon.
Jude's in the house.
I know. I said hello and I love
you
him.
did?
Yep.
Okay. Dr. Daniel Baker, PhD's in the house, too.
Hey, Dr. Daniel Baker, PhD. Quite big congratulations are in order. Should we do Siglebrations? Is it time for that? We already did the CRYPT update?
No, let's get the CRYPT update out of the way, and then we'll do Siglebrations. What?
Okay.
No. So let me tell people where we are at. Working on it every day now. It's the full-time job. GFL Book 7 is off to Big John Vizcarra, who is juggling many balls right now. There are many balls being juggled, cast about in the air, brought back down, some dropped, who knows. He's got a lot of stuff to do, so he'll be working on GFL Book 7, second draft. When I get that back from him, then I will work on the final draft of GFL Book 7. No promises to any of you snitches when that thing is going to be out. But we're rolling. That means now I'm finally working full-time on the CRYPT. The CRYPT consultants are hard at work. I was calling them the crew, but now I call them the advisors because these are my primary military advisors. I've got Joe Root, who is an advisor as someone who's served on submarines at various levels of command, and that's very helpful.
In the Navy.
Actively in the Navy still? Okay. JP Harvey, retired. Yep. Retired, and he is helping
Air Force, though.
with Air Force, all the planes, all that kind of stuff, which of course, fighter craft, shuttlecraft, Raptors if you were in BSG, and Vipers and all that stuff. And a lot of the, I think it'll also be very helpful in some of the command structure. And then Chris Grawl, Mr. Happy, who is almost always in the chat room, doesn't look like he is tonight, but he is our small unit tactics in boarding party strategy, weapons designer. Everybody's doing a bunch of stuff. So I've been spending the last 2 weeks working on that with all of them as I'm simultaneously reading through a lot of the biology. Dr. Jeremy Ellis is just starting to get involved with the biology. I will give you guys a spoiler. Everybody's helping me with the SLE stacks. I wonder
to know.
if you don't know what a SLE stack is, I know how old you are not. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Good to know.
40 and below, easy. So the SLE stacks will be a part of the CRYPT.
You're not going to explain it.
No, I can't.
Even better.
I can't. I will say that today I finished the first draft of the outline. So it's a 5-book series, and there's so much world building to do in book 1 that the world building itself is going to take up a huge amount of space. So it's a bit oh, I know what I talk about. It's a bit limited as to what we can do story wise, because the other thing is now as I mature as an author and get better at my craft, I'm learning more and more. It's all about characters, character interactions, make you guys feel deep emotions for someone who never existed, and then put them up against it, put them in the meat grinder, and see if they make it out. So book 1, we have to focus on that. We also have to kind of plan the whole 5-book arc as we are doing all of this. What I want to tell you is that if you guys have heard the CRYPT, you've listened to the CRYPT before, the original cast, you will hear some of that content, as was mostly. You hear some of it completely rewritten, and some of it you will not hear at all. Even though you may have heard a character study, a vignette about a character, maybe see that character on the boat, but you will not get backstory on that right away. That's because that worked great for the podcast, but considering this is book 1 of a 5-book series, I have to get to the actual story part. We had considered for a long time just putting out all 120,000 words as book 1, kind of as we wrote it. But I think
we talked about that for a long time.
Yeah. Long time. I think that's a disservice to you guys. I think it's not enough of a story. And the big thing is I can trust the junkies to power through something, but somebody who's just coming across this for the first time,
right?
If they're like, what, is he introducing the 5th character now? And I'm 50,000 words into this and I don't know what's happening. That might turn people off. We want them to get to the end of book 1, which is going to be great.
Even so much so that you guys have heard us talk about, we thought over and over and over again, we might put out the CRYPT. What you guys, if you are familiar with the CRYPT, have heard as the CRYPT book 1, we were going to try and put out as book 0. But that is not the way Audible and Amazon work. They're starting to do that. They're starting to sort of place them in the timeline correctly. But for years, they haven't been doing any of that. I just recently saw 0.5 in the series.
Steve just spoiled the whole series.
He said, everybody
dies. God damn it.
Mad gummit. You can't be mad at him, though. It's his birthday.
Well, he's probably right, too.
But I agree with Scott. I think the right thing to do for all of us, fans who have read it, fans who have not read it, is to make that story more dynamic. Right now, you got kind of little pictures of each person, but no way that they interact together. And I think for several books, if you're going to read and read and read, it's fine for one, especially if you already knew it. But that might get a little confusing because in book 3, you're going to be like, wait, who was this guy in book 1?
Got to keep it tight. Of course, real quick, Robert W., thank you very much. And he says, so many great concepts in the CRYPT. I'm having total being spoiled for choice. There's the CRYPT, there's now getting to talk about the Planetary Union military, which is America adjacent, but a little bit more harsh than America would be. We're in the middle of the 4th Galactic War, which is something I've never gotten to write about before in the GFL other than a historical perspective. It's just... You need help find something, babe?
No, I'm picking up the dog because it's puppy
dog. Oh, okay.
While you talk.
And I get to do all that. And then there's new aliens, talking about the aliens, getting to present aliens in a perspective where they're not happy, joy in the football field. All of that. There's, of course, all of the mechanics of the Keeling itself and all of the stuff that the Keeling can do and how do we explain that. And then taking military sci-fi, something I've been reading a lot, listening to a lot of. This is military sci-fi horror. This is going to get just bonkers as to what goes on. So our characters are not just fighting multiple enemy forces, not just fighting ne'er-do-wells within their own service, but also fighting or trying to cope or trying to survive against some seriously Stephen King shit going down. So I think it's going to be really, really fun. But that's what I'm working on full-time right now. If all goes well, I start writing on April 1st, Sigler Ascension Day. Probably won't be doing anything for Sigler Ascension Day. I talked to you about it a couple days ago. We're just so slammed right now. I got to get this book. I got to get the first draft done by June 1st. Got to get it done right, so it's going to take up a lot of time.
We keep talking about these next 10 to 12 weeks as essentially us being on a cruise, sort of. You know, if you've ever been on a cruise, it's can still have fun, but you can't necessarily I would like to go out for Italian food too. Well, I guess you can do that on a big cruise, but you know what I'm saying. Shore excursions are few and far between. That's kind of what we're planning. So you'll be along with us as much as we're raising our heads for air, so to speak.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of rigs. You ready to get on to Junkies? Is that
I
right?
am. Do you want to take Junkies celebrations and stuff?
Yeah,
we're going to start with
right now.
SIGLERbrations.
Okay,
We've got a
hold
few
on.
of those before you go to photos.
Oh, but that's okay. Okay, good.
Do you want this dog?
Sure. Come here, Pug. Come here, Peanut. Let's go. Come on. She's getting old, you guys. Her little hips are starting to hurt now, and it's heartbreaking. It's the hardest thing.
So we have a handful of SIGLERbrations, and as you guys know, we celebrate the good and the sad and the bad sometimes, as long as there's something to celebrate. And we've got a few of those. We're going to start with the really fun ones. As I've mentioned several times, my friend Steve Rickenberg is in the chat room tonight, and today is his actual birthday. He did send us a photo that I hope he'll let me show you next week. Of him drinking a bottle of Kraken's rum that we sent him to celebrate. Yeah.
Spoilers.
Well, I
You just
mean,
gave away the photo.
I'm thinking he might post it is the point.
Okay.
Yeah. So very happy birthday to you, Steve. As you know, you're very important to the Empty Set organization. We love you very much. Melissa Masucci, also in the chat room. We got a little waylaid with our weekly stuff, and she had a birthday on March 8th, and she sent it in as a SIGLERbration. And then March 9th, we ended up doing an office hour. So I didn't want to miss it because you're terrific. And I hope you had a terrific day. And I just couldn't miss it. So belated happy birthday to you. Also, I have, as you know, Dr. Daniel Baker, PhD, is in the chat room tonight. And his wife, who is also a good friend of ours, her name is Abby. She got a promotion to provost at the University of Memphis that goes into effect July 1st, interim provost. And it's awesome, and I'm really happy for that whole family, and especially Abby. She worked really hard on it, and it was a tough decision.
Doctor who?
Dr. Daniel Baker, PhD.
Doesn't he? Doctor.
Do you have another name for him?
I think, no, what was it again? I don't remember.
Right. Professor Sillybridges, wasn't it?
Professor Sillybridges.
Oh, we're having dinner with a friend tonight who knows Professor Sillybridges from way back when. So we figured we'd share that as
Yeah, it's a strong name. Ready for pictures?
No, not yet. Okay. We only have 2 pictures. So this is a little bit of a sad one, but it's, celebrations of life are still SIGLERbrations. And our good friend and very long-time junkie, Rich Bennett, earlier this month lost his terrific dad. And I have never met his dad. I have only met Rich infrequently, in person, I mean. But it's very clear from how much his family loved him and how much he did in his life, that his dad, Bill, was a terrific, terrific guy, and it must be an incalculable loss. So I just wanted you to know that we love you and we're here for you. And
he had to be a good guy to kick out Rich.
Well, exactly right. Yeah, and that's the celebration that we're leaning into, because that's the one we can lean into for now. So we love you very much, Rich, and sorry for your loss.
Okay.
Now we're moving on to party pictures.
Bam!
So this is Jenna, Leah, and Daryl. You guys know them. They are in the chat room, I believe, right now. And this is them on Patty's Day. Now, if you don't know this about them, I love these guys so much because independent of SIGLERinPLACE has nothing to do with us. They just do it in general in their lives. They celebrate like the SIGLERs celebrate, but they do it with costumes. I love it so much. They have hats or accoutrement or earrings or whatever for so many holidays. And this was their St. Patrick's Day picture this year. And everybody in their home celebrates. So when we get to pet pictures, you're going to see Patty's Day pictures of them too. But I will also, I put in another photo to prove to you how stinking cool Jenna, Leah, and Daryl are.
Shaboop.
So that is from actually not last year, but the year before when lockdown first started and we first started SIGLERinPLACE. They sent this orange and blacks junkie photo in. They also sent another, like a behind the scenes photo of them trying to work the selfie stick or whatever. But like I said, they celebrate everything. They even just celebrated SIGLERinPLACE like this. So we love you very much. Thank you for sharing.
Okay, going back to Maine. Yeah. Okay, now what we got to do human experimentation time. Here we go.
Oh gosh, you guys.
Yes.
So we at Sigler Fest a handful of years ago, we did human experimentation, where we called up a bunch of junkies and we made them try things like peanut butter and jelly soda and those weird tablets that you eat and then you try a lemon and it's sweet. So I
want to say, good.
I saw this plant-based jerky at the grocery store this week, and I thought, you know what? It's time for payback. You guys will have to watch us try this. I got the teriyaki version, and the normal version.
Shout out to Stephen King, who commented that milk should not come in containers that have green art. This is meat-ish, and it's green and anything that resembles meat. I think are not a good combo, unless there's like onion sprinkles or something.
I don't know.
Am I missing anything?
Squeaky is trying to climb up my legs right now because I opened the
Hey,
package.
get down, dumb. I'll tell you
Apparently,
what.
it smells good, at least to dogs. I don't know if that's a
Which
good
means
thing or not.
It's going to smell a lot like dog treats, is where we're at right now. Let's go to
So
check.
I'm
Ooh.
gonna. That's what I mean. It's
It
smelly.
doesn't smell like beef jerky, but it smells good.
Squeaky and Reese are all over.
It smells like Impossible beef tastes, which, does not taste exactly like beef, not even close to beef, but it's its own. I love Impossible meat. It's,
Yeah, me too.
It's awesome.
And to be fair, Melissa in the chat room, she said Beyond Meat is pretty darn good. We've tried. Is it Beyond Beef? Is that what? Or is it Beyond Meat? Is this the same people who make the burgers?
Beyond,
I guess
it's Beyond and Impossible are the two brands.
I think I prefer as ground beef. I think I prefer the Impossible, but we're gonna try this. Have you tried it?
No, I'm trying it right now.
I'm trying the teriyaki version.
I'm trying original. Go ahead, baby. You go first.
I feel like you should try yours in case I have comments.
Oh. Yeah. Awesome.
All right.
That's a little resistant. So weird. This is like, so far texture-wise, this is some seriously dried up jerky from a cow that spent many, many a year in the desert with nary a drop of water to be seen. Well, there it goes. I mean, it's sort of like jerky.
Mine too. Switch and see. Let me have that one. So
No, you know what it is?
It feels like jerky.
When you get like the Jack Link's, the good jerky, and you can see the muscle strand striations, it's not like that. But sometimes you go to the gas station and they have like a big bag of jerky, and it's like three bags for $4 because it's on clearance. It's been around for a while, and I'm like, that gets beef jerky down in the somewhat responsible dollars per pound range, and I'll buy it all. And of course, it takes a while to get through that. And sometimes you bet, and it's the chunks, the beef jerky chunks, which they take all the bits of delicious leftover meat and press them together and put food dye on them, and then seasoning, and then food coloring. Boom, there you go. It tastes like that. So if you like those kind of chunky meat ones, that aren't just, oh, bye. That's when you don't like it.
I do not.
What
like
happened to
the
your face
original.
right there?
I mean, it sort of smells like when I was a kid, I had like a face with hair that you could put makeup on. It was like on a pink base. It was so girls can play makeup.
Oh, okay.
And it smelled like this, or this smells like that. I guess the original. I really liked the teriyaki,
This is the original.
but this one smells funny.
Yeah, Steve Rickyberg, this is better than Desperation Jerky on a gas station road trip. But then again, I mean, if you buy it when it's before its expiration date is expired because it's in the sale bin, maybe it tastes different. I don't know. I wouldn't know these things. So here we go. Now I tried teriyaki. My mouth is watering from the original. That was very satisfying, very good. If you guys will notice, this jerky came out exactly in the shape of the state of Michigan, that is a scale model of the state of Michigan. And where am I from? Right there. Right there. Okay, here we go. Here's teriyaki in the shape of Michigan. Jason Brown, I don't know if I believe that story. I don't know if I believe that story, Jason Brown. Teriyaki?
You're listening. Everyone is listening to you chew. By the way.
I'm thinking with my mouth right now.
Definitely eating more teriyaki because I'm not a fan of the other.
I like the original a little bit better. I think it's good though.
Hey, there we go. At least we both have a flavor we like. This one does not smell like the Barbie doll head thing.
Kurt Blah says, we eat beyond Sklorno meat. Exactly. You will be seeing the Sklorno in the crypt, and they will not be leaping for joy and worshiping the godling. It'd be a very different experience.
Okay.
I'm in for both. Okay.
That was sort of fun, but I'm not eating any more of this one.
I'll have all of it. It's delicious. All right. Ready for pup dates? Mm-hmm. There, I'm going to tell people what you're seeing on the bottom right there, babe.
Oh, okay, so this is a recent picture of Squeaky. I think I must have mentioned Squeaky and Reese when they went to stay with the goddamn dog sitter, Amy, Reed, who's in the chat room this evening. A million years ago, she sent us a picture of them, everybody trying to fit into this little bitty donut bed. And so I bought donut beds for my dogs, and I have 2 dogs, so I bought 2 donut beds. They love them. We have a little bitty house, a little bitty place. So sometimes, normally the dog beds sit on the couch, but when we want to sit on the couch, they get stacked on top of each other, which becomes the double donut bed, which is Squeaky's nirvana. It's her Valhalla. Well, I guess it's her. Either way, it's on Earth. It's the most favorite thing that she can do, and that is her in a double donut bed on the couch a couple of weeks ago. And I think she wanted me to pay attention to her, but I was in a different chair, so she just like kept like mimping at me, and I took that cute picture.
Very cute. Very cute. All right, and now we got to go to the big pup picture this week is.
Oh, baby
long time
Reese.
ago. Baby
Look
Reese.
at her.
Very close to when she was a pup, and that purple. No, that's not the one. My mom got her a purple.
Yeah, it was a dark purple dinosaur.
Dark purple dinosaur. I don't know. Well, I don't know what this is. Looks like an Elmo thing. And she, Elmo's getting his ass kicked. It's along those lines. So that is my beauty, the little one you just saw.
Look at her.
A few minutes ago. Except now she got all this gray on her muzzle that she did not have back then. Well, little dumpling. Love that pup. All right, and then we go back to Maine. And sweetie, I don't know if you prepared for it. I don't think you did because it wasn't on the list. But I think we got a little bit of time for some questions.
We have dog pup photos.
Okay, gosh darn, you're right. Gosh darn and darn. We'll turn this up. There we go.
Okay, so this is actually Dolly Purton. Dolly Purton belongs to our friend Robin Taylor. Dolly Purton is often featured on SIGLERinPLACE, so I will be honest, these last few weeks have been a little bit crazy, and the email that this was attached to was not specifically about Dolly Purton, so I'm not sure if I've showed this to you before, but she's cute and she's snoozing, and I had to show it again. Next up. These are the 2. Okay, so you can flip back and forth between this one and the next one. I told you Daryl and Jenna Lee are so good at dressing up for holidays and everybody in their household. So this is, let's see, this is, I think, Margot, and the other one is Oswald. So if you flip back and forth, I'll get it right for sure. But they also dressed up for St. Patrick's Day. And now that I think about it, I should have shared the photos. Next week, I'll share the photos of our dogs dressed up for Patty's Day. I didn't do that, but I should. They're very cute.
They looked angry and ready to kill.
Also, I do love, more than anything on earth, a cross-eyed cat. Oh, so cute.
Is that a cross-eyed cat?
No, the other one. A little bit. See? Cutie patootie.
Did you know cats can rotate each eye independent of each other 360 degrees?
No.
They can actually see in all directions at once,
And
or
it's not a
stereoscopic vision.
Not a thing.
That's how they catch insects with their tongue.
None of that is actually not the tongue.
I saw it on Discovery. They're cute
did
little.
not. Was it during the Aliens show?
No.
It was aliens.
These were house cats, except they were in trees in the jungle, and they're a little green. And they're very good. They're very good at gripping
That's
tree
a lizard,
branches.
sir.
That's a lizard?
That's a lizard.
Well, lizards.
This is not a lizard. This is Squeaky.
I love a cross-eyed lizard, so there we go. And next we have.
Oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is Hope, and Hope belongs to Don Shipley, who is in the chat room tonight. And I think she's plotting to take over the Siglerverse. If I had to guess what Hope is doing there, and you see there's that beautiful galactic map up that she's sniffing.
Awesome.
So she's plotting our demise. I'm almost positive. But I, for one, welcome our new fuzzy overlord. I do. I hope that I'm saved.
And who's this pally?
So this and the next one, I think. This is the sweetest Krakens cosplay ever. This is Stormy Barker, belonging to our friend Gordy. Many of you know Gordy, and this is his sweet pup, Stormy. And then if you do the next photo, that's them. They camp a lot, and that's them tucked up and camping, which I crazy love. I think this was maybe earlier in Stormy's life, because she seems a little bit little there.
She's tiny. I just saw her say she's tiny.
Yeah.
All right. And getting back to the main? No. Let's see.
Squeaky for Puppy
Reagan
Day.
Reagan says she's not familiar. Reagan's not familiar with Sigler Ascension Day. So we'll go over that real quick. Those of you who are not familiar with Sigler Ascension Day, way back in the 2007s?
I think 2007.
2007, we put out a book called, I think that's right, called Ancestor. And it was out from a very small indie press, no money for marketing, no budget, none of that stuff. But when I was in my heyday of my marketing ability, I was able to communicate to every the junkies like, hey, go buy the book on April 1st. So they gave everybody a day to anchor it around. Then we did a big podcast tour, went on different channels, and told the audiences of those various channels, some of which knew me, some of which didn't, like, this is gonna be a cool thing. We're gonna rope a dope on the Amazon algorithm, and we'd like you guys to go buy this book. And it was a $14.95 paperback book. This is before ebooks. That's how old I am. And basically before Audible, even though Audible was a very tiny, tiny company at that time. And people did that, and Ancestor went on to be the #1 horror book on Amazon, the #1 sci-fi book on Amazon, and was the #2 fiction best-selling book on Amazon on that master chart. And this was at a time, again, before ebooks. So everybody was slugging it away at $14.95, $12.95, $9.95, and all that. So I was up against, the Stephen Kings, the Anne Rices, the Dean Koontz, all the bigs. Mm-hmm. And we snuck in there, and we hit #1, #2 overall. The second best-selling book on the entire site.
Do you remember which book was #1?
Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, I think. Yeah.
Indeed.
So, and that lasted for 2 days. It didn't last for a long time, but it was such a big deal. And then we also wound up with, well, when you're up that high, the algorithm kicks in and people see it, and you wind up selling a bunch of stuff to people who have no idea who you are because they just want to take a chance on it. And so that was April 1st. So that became Sigler Ascension Day, because what happened was I had a new agent. The new agent had my books on the desks of editors who'd never heard of me, never seen my work. My previous agent, Joshua Billings of the Jabberwocky Agency, I was with for like 9 years, did a great job. We just couldn't find the magic to get in front of the right person at the right time. The new agent, still the agent, Bird Level, had the book on several desks, and then when we were #1 on Amazon horror sci-fi, #2 overall, Bird just started calling people, calling editors and saying, that book I put on your desk 2 weeks ago, go look at Amazon right now. And it made, for lack of a better phrase, it made New York publishing shit their pants. They didn't know who I was and wasn't out with a publisher, but there I was at the time, competing against all the bigs, and that was something that even big-time established authors couldn't do on command. A publisher couldn't sign this guy, this girl, and say you're guarantee you're gonna be top 10, because it's a crapshoot. Because all sales are relative, so it just depends on who's ahead of you at that time if you get that top 10 ranking. So new book on new desks. And then Bird was able to just call everybody and say, go check out Amazon right now. And then everybody hurriedly read Infected, which was the book that was on their desks. Mm-hmm. And then 6 publishers wanted it. It went into a mini auction, and the auction turned into a 3-book deal with Random House, which then became a 5-book deal with Random House. And that was it. At that point, we were made. We were signed to a big. Infected was signed to Random House for a 5-book deal. The movie was optioned the same, like 2 days later. So in 1 week, I had gone from, basically 17 years of banging away at this and 12 years of being like, I will be a full-time writer. And then all of a sudden, it was overnight success that took 17 years to make. And we got signed, and we put out the books, and I quit my job and went to work as a full-time author, and have been a full-time author ever since. So since then, we have used April 1st, because it's a memorable date. We've used that as Sigler Ascension Day. Like, hey, here's this cool thing coming. We're trying to line up with April 1st. Sometimes we do celebration like, here's an insane sale on April 1st. Or we try and schedule new book releases for April 1st. Some years don't get anything at all. But that is Sigler Ascension Day, April 1st. That is the story behind that. Go ahead, baby.
So since people are going to ask if they don't know this story, how'd that option for Infected go?
The movie?
What's the script like?
No, I've never seen the script.
No. I mean the one that they hired the writer to write.
That's what I'm talking about.
You never saw it.
I never saw it.
Wow. Yeah. No. So we knew it existed. We weren't working together at the time, but I know the story really well after all this time. Knew it existed, but it was so disappointing to the people who optioned the movie that we never even got to see it. Scott even flew down to L.A. one day from San Francisco to meet with the screenwriter just in case, early on in the process. So it had been a very collaborative thing, and then it sort of fell apart. Since then, we've learned that this is not uncommon.
Oh, no. The worst movie you've ever seen in your life is an absolute miracle. So they optioned it, and it was a 2-year option. And this is the tragedy of Hollywood. The person they hired to write it, perfectly fine screenwriter, apparently not the right screenwriter for Infected, took 18 months to write the first draft of the screenplay. Excuse me.
That's too many months, by the way. That's definitely too many months.
If you get hired to write a screenplay, it should be in about 3 months. There should be a draft in about 3 months. More if you're, John Spates, the guy who wrote Dune, or you're somebody who's really made, you can take a little bit, but it should not take more than 6 months. It should not take a year because people have to read it, give comments. It has to go through all of this vortex of things. The one he turned in 18 months, the publisher, Random House Films, was basically like, nope, go back to the drawing board with this. So the guy goes back to the drawing board, takes another 6 months, turns in a second draft, which I've never seen. And then right when he's turning in the second draft, that is the movie was optioned by Rogue Pictures. Mm-hmm. Rogue Pictures was bought out by Relativity Media. And as things usually happen in a Hollywood buyout, new guy comes in, says, I don't want old guy getting credit for anything, so they scrap everything. So out of the 23 properties that they had optioned through Rogue or an active duty or being in production, they kept 5 of them. Mm-hmm. So they cut almost everything. They took a look at the second draft of the Infected screenplay and were like, nope, and the option expired. And we've been banging away trying to get that in front of people ever since.
And I will say that has happened more than once to us. We have a quit claim for another option that prohibits us from talking in detail about it. But that thing about new people came in and cleared house, that's a pretty frequent thing. And you can kind of figure that out a little bit. Like if somebody gets, they leave the company or get terminated and you pick up their projects, and you didn't choose that project, it's going to be a little hard for you to get behind. But more than that, if it's a stinker, you get all the blame instead of the person who picked it up. So that's my best guess at what happens when they clean house like that. But it's happened to us more than once, and it's a total bummer.
It's a big bummer. It's a big bummer. All right. So we are at... Do we have to go right now? We want to do a couple questions?
We can do a couple questions. We zooped through
Questions, Mrs. Gilmore. Do you have questions as I stare at you with my disdainful, smoky gaze? Mrs. Gilmore, my shirt's too big for me. And I hope... I have no idea. I just go to Giphy and search for questions, and this is what came up. Apparently, I'm in the teacher's lounge at a high school, and my shirt is too big, but you know what? My tie matches Mrs. Gilmore, and that's half the battle. Now we go back to this. There we go. That was my own song. I called this composition. I called Mrs. Gilmore, do you have any questions? That'll be on my upcoming album.
That was probably better than the original plant-based jerky, but not by much.
Let's go.
Okay, I have a question. Can you... where is it? I lost it.
She's having aftertaste disassociation.
Describe your writing space.
Okay, here we go. We're going to do it live.
We'll do it live.
Hi, baby. Just... I think I can keep this on.
Yeah.
No, you just have to repeat what I say
Okay.
here. Say Scott's grabbing the camera.
Scott's grabbing the... Oh, Lord. This is a mistake. Wait a second, you guys. Hang tight. We're going to discuss. Sir, I feel like grabbing the camera off the monitor is a bad idea. Do you want to maybe do a tour next week of the whole place?
I mean, I could go to this one.
No.
I could grab this camera.
I still... Dude, sometimes you breathe and that camera goes off.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I feel like... Probably
that's
no. So what we'll do is this. That's my mistake. I asked that somebody asked that question ages ago. We have done a whole bunch of home improvements in the last couple of weeks, making it a better living space for the both of us and all of our junk. Since we kind of moved very quickly when the pandemic started, we both moved in here. So we'll get our shit
Let's
together
do it next
and give
week.
you a little
That'll
bit of
be
a tour.
the focal point for next week.
Yeah.
Shannon Bethany asked for it, so it's...
I'm not sure if
be
we'll
done.
pre-record it and then just talk about it, or
No,
if we'll...
I can set some stuff up.
Okay, yeah, maybe we'll do... It'll be more office hours-y, though, so there you go, right?
Okay.
Or maybe we'll start with this and then from there.
We can go to those questions or those questions, whatever you want.
Okay, so Kim Hansen in the chat room asks, what are your first and second animal species?
First and second favorite animal species. Boy, Jiminy Christmas. First, dogs. Domesticated dogs are the third best invention that humanity's ever come up with. Number 1, the written word. Number 2, the wheel. Number 3, domesticated dogs. Number 4, Scott Sigler podcast. I think that's pretty much how things have...
Right, sure.
Number 5, Pumpkinhead Demon of Revenge. That is the 5 right there. So my second favorite animal, I don't know.
Oops.
there's just so many of them. I will have to go with...
It's not a mantis shrimp, I know that.
No, this will shock you. I'm going to go with a specific kind of dog that I think is just badass. And that, of course, ladies and gentlemen, even though my dog is not this, that is the Dachshund. Do you know what the Dachshund was bred for? I've never told you this? You guys have seen Dachshund. They're so cute. And they're so long, and they get the little tiny legs, and they got the crazy waggly tail, whip tail that makes their whole little butt move around while their head stays still because their butt's in a whole different time zone. Those snitches were bred to crawl into badger burrows and drag badgers out so people could kill the badgers to clear the farmland to put in livestock, because a badger will fuck a cow up. Badgers and wolverines are what Dachshunds, cute little tiny with a little tiny nose and a waggly tail. Dachshunds were bred to kill badgers, not just kill them. I mean, we're talking like Full Metal Jacket going down. No, Full Metal Jacket's not the one I'm thinking of. Like, what is Apocalypse Now? No, what is Platoon? We're talking about Platoon. They are who is the actor in Platoon? The one,
Which actor?
the one who is the not the bad guy, but the one foil to the bad guy.
I don't know.
Charlie Sheen was the main actor.
Okay.
So William Dafoe.
Okay.
Dachshunds are the Willem Dafoe of the dog world. They are paid to and they're not paid. They're excited. They wiggle their way into a badger warren. Grab a goddamn badger and drag it out against its will to its utter death.
That does sound pretty badass.
That's badass. It's
Do you know
badass.
any Dachshunds?
No, I know no Dachshunds. Don't start with me.
Are you sure?
This is bullshit.
Sorry,
this
folks.
This is some bullshit right here.
Sorry, folks, you have to see this domestic dispute, but we're all family here, so here you go. We, for Christmas, from our good friends Amy and Jim, the goddamn dog sitters, we got wisdom panel DNA tests for our dogs, and we finally got them done. It took a little while to get it sorted, but we finally got it done, and they came back last week sometime. And Reese, who we've been told was part terrier and part min pin, and everybody would say, but she looks just like a little chocolate lab. We would say, yeah, she doesn't, maybe that's just Dachshunds. I mean, min pins sometimes are sable colored, and then we got their panels back, and Reese is 27% Dachshund.
No, it's bullshit.
It's her. But now,
bullshit. Wait, does this look like a Dachshund to you? Look at the length on these arms. Look at this. Look at this.
This does.
This is like the Big Ben of pendulum arms right here. It's so disproportionate. Her long, awesome AT-AT Walker legs. These are not. Check out the back. Check out the back. Check out the front. Does this look like a
But look
Dachshund
at
to
the
you?
snout. The snout and this part of the snout, very Dachshund-y.
No, wrong.
She's 15% lab, so we assume that maybe is where her color comes from. But all told, she's 50% tiny dog because she's 23% miniature schnauzer and 3% standard schnauzer. So those are little dogs too. So she's,
You know what though?
yeah.
Hold on. 2% American Pit Bull Terrier.
She's a
Thursdays at
guard
7
dog.
on UPN. And 2% German Shepherd Dog. The German Shepherd Dog, by the way, I learned this. Thought it was a typo. If you ever watch college sports and you listen to some young person saying, the Ohio State University, that's what the German Shepherd Dog is, the Ohio State University of the animal world. Because you could just call them German Shepherds like all of us do, but the actual breed is German Shepherd Dog, the German Shepherd Dog. So I think that is a pretentious, preposterous breed of dog.
So she is predominantly small dog. She's got some Weimaraner in her, but only 3%.
This does say, I didn't know Dachshunds were a terrier though. That's on the terrier group.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she is mostly terrier. She's 6% Chihuahua. We thought she was no percent Chihuahua. My favorite part of it though is she's our guard dog because she's 2% Pit Bull Terrier and 2% German Shepherd dog. If you're interested, we kind of went on for a little while, but Squeaky is
Grab Squeaky
exactly
real
what
quick.
she looks like. She is, of course, if you look up Chipin on Google, CHIPIN, it's half Chihuahua, half Min Pin. And all of those look just like my dog. And that's exactly what happened. She ended up to be 63% Chihuahua, 12% miniature pincer, and just like her sister, 4% Dachshund. She also has a lot of little dogs in her, and the only surprise there is she's 2% American Eskimo dog, which is a dog that comes in around 50 pounds, and Squeaky weighs a little less than 12 pounds. So that was a little bit of a surprise.
The
The
American
American
Eskimo Dog. Pretentious douche.
So it was a great question, Kim. Thank you. But I'll answer just in case you guys already know this. I actually had a discussion with Jason Brown, who's in the chat room tonight, earlier today. My two great loves I have owned in my life, these dogs and cats. We grew up with cats. My brother and I grew up with cats. And when I was in college, I had a mustached parakeet, which is actually not a parakeet, but a very little parrot. And those are my top three.
All right. Next question.
We had that question. Let me find it from Sean because it was a good one. But I was scrolling.
Scrolling. What? Keep scrolling. Also, if you don't know that
I'll ask
joke,
this
you
one
are
from
very
Jason.
young.
Question is, there is a tiny area on the GFL map labeled Parawl, Parawl. Do I need to read the books, or can you give me a little info on them?
An area?
It says a tiny area on the GFL
Is it
map.
a planet? I think it's probably a planet. I don't have my writing computer up in front of me, so let me go look right now.
If you want. I don't think so. We can talk about it next week.
Talk about it next week.
Jason,
Can you
just
jot
keep
that down, though?
Yeah,
'Cause I'll
I'll
have to
keep
get
that
that
question
for him.
and we'll get that. Probably not next week if we're doing the tour, but we'll get to it soon. But that way he can prepare an answer.
Big John's not here because, like I said, he's got a lot of stuff going on.
True. Sean asks, if you had to be stranded on a desert island and forced to eat somebody to survive, which historical person do you think would taste the best?
I was thinking about, like, which person do you think you would take so that others might live? But which historical person would taste the best? Is Willy Wonka a historical person?
I don't know.
Because he's probably made of chocolate.
Either that or snozberries.
He might be, that chocolate and snozberries both would be great. Let's see. So which person would taste the best? Oh, I have to think it's, I think Dom DeLuise.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about it. Dom DeLuise was a plush guy. Clearly wasn't passing up the sugar. He was having all the good stuff. Maybe got a little fattened up, ready for slaughter?
Yeah, maybe.
What do you think, baby?
I was thinking I might pick somebody who can eat spicier food than I do, just in case that translates. So they'd be flavorful. Like, I don't know, Pablo Neruda. Well, maybe Frida Kahlo.
Rita Moreno?
Yeah, I'd pick the ladies.
What about Pablo Escobar?
Definitely no. Well, here's the thing. I instantly, as I was reading the question out loud, the thing that popped into my head was Ernest Hemingway because he'd be pickled. So maybe Escobar preserved well. I don't know. I can't really tell.
I think if you have a meal of Pablo Escobar thigh,
either
you're
that or
get
maybe
super high.
I
rhymed it. What? Captain Crunch. Look, if I could pick Captain Crunch, I'd pick Captain Crunch. It's historical people.
I don't think he's a person.
That's what I'm saying. Timothy Clark says Captain Crunch would taste great. Yes. Captain Crunch would taste delicious. So would Willy Wonka. But they're not historical figures.
Wait a minute. Who's your favorite comedian? Dead.
God, there's so many.
Dead.
Who?
Dead.
Favorite dead comedian? Mm-hmm. I'll tell you, probably George Carlin, but he would taste
funny.
Terrible. Oh. Is it too late? Is it too late to not get married?
Sorry. I had to.
I walked right into that. I did not see that one coming at all.
What is your favorite underappreciated novel, sir?
Oh, my God. There's so many. Favorite underappreciated, I don't know. Let's see. I will go with, just off the top of my head, it's not like a novel I've campaigned for. Although if you haven't read Seawolf, Call of the Wild, you should read both of those. They're friggin' incredible.
But I think those totally count. My favorite book growing up was, and one of my favorite books on earth right now, I've talked about it before in this cast, is a book called Winter's Tale by Mark Halperin. Mm-hmm. And it takes place in and around New York City.
Is that unknown or underestimated?
I mean, you guys tell me how many of you who don't know me personally have ever heard of that book. I will say it's either old enough that it's kind of, but it's not a perennial favorite. I'll say that. It does center around New York City, and it is a magical realism tale. And I feel like this crowd, I owe you both of those explanations because I grew up in New York City, so it might be special to me because I'm local to New York. Or if you don't like magical realism, which Scott has read this book, he's not a great big fan of magical realism. He'd rather just have the physics work in the world the way they work. So if that's not you, that's cool, but that's my take.
Okay. I will say, I'll give you one that I read recently that I don't know if it's underestimated or I don't remember the phraseology was. But this book, if you like bugs, and you like science fiction, I think you're going to be hard-pressed to find a better book than Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I almost went into entomology and when I went to college, it was journalism, entomology, or marine biology. And I chose journalism because I was lazy and writing was easy. If you know biology, if you know stuff about insects, if you like spiders, if you like ants, lights out. For me personally, as a fan of science and as a once upon a time budding entomologist, I put this bitch right up there with Dune. Like those two are equal to me as far as, holy crap, how did the author come up with this throughput and this plot line? And I'm also partial to it because I always, I'm not going to give spoilers.
Yeah, don't give spoilers.
I won't give spoilers. But there's an relatively, not everybody knows about this book, even though the dude's won some awards and he's on the up and he's an incredibly talented guy. That's my pick.
All right. So I think, like I said, we are meeting a friend for dinner tonight. So I think we're going to probably head off after this last question.
Okay.
If you have questions while I'm keep typing, if you just were going to type a question. Because every time I go through, after the show, I go through and I look at all the comments and I harvest the questions we didn't talk about, which is why I always have a big list of questions. So go ahead and still type them in there or email them, as you know, to info. I don't know how to do this. info@emptyset. Yep. Please, because these are great, fun questions, even if they're silly, like which historical figure would you eat, which is a silly question. But we'll do one more. I don't see one.
I'm sticking with Dom DeLuise, by the way. Final answer. Dom DeLuise.
All right. I don't see too much. So I'll go back to my list.
And if you asked a question in chat today and you did not get it answered, email that question to info@emptyset.com. We will try to get it on a future episode of Sigler in Place.
What was the best investment you ever made in your writing career? Or
My
your
writing career?
Your writing.
The best in, like, monetarily, right?
It just says the best investment in your writing. You want me? I have at least something to add. I think you did really right.
I will say the best investment I've ever made in the writing career is you. When we went way back when.
Okay.
What you helped with the rookie.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I was like, hey, let's go into business together. And you're like, you can't afford me. I'm like, I'll give you half the company. You're like, how much is that company worth? Not a lot. I'll be honest.
That's a good
Not
point.
a whole lot. But there could be an upside to it. Son. And A finally took that deal. So
yeah, I took that deal very early on, and it was worth the payoff.
I'd say that's a pretty big investment, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and that
shit.
was a big risk for both of us because at the time it's super easy to say, like, I got nothing. You want to have nothing with me? But it's actually really, if you're going to dedicate time to your entrepreneurial business and your small, tiny mom and pop business, you know, we both he wrote books for and still does write books for Random House. I have another job doing logistics. We do work so that we can do this well. Now it's a little bit easier, but back in the day we had no choice. I had a whole nother company, and he wrote books for whoever was asking because that's how you do that. But I agree with you. It was worth it.
She says, I got nothing. You want to have half of nothing? No. I pitched a whole different ballgame. I'm like, all right, listen up. So what you got here, all right? This is like a kid in the AAU basketball who's tearing it up on the courts and nobody knows who it is yet. You got to get in early. You got to come to manager. You got to come up with some payola to get him in the right college. All that stuff. And eventually, he's going to go to the show. He's going to be in the NBA. Going to be dunking and reverse dunking and hook dunking. And
are they going to be donuts?
Double clutch dunking and donut dunking. And there's going to be money everywhere for everybody. And you're going to be a part of that money. You're going to own half of that money, kid. So, so I haven't quite dunked yet.
To be fair.
I'm very short, but I'm working on my vertical to get my ups.
When Scott and I met, I knew essentially nothing about most sports and absolutely nothing about basketball. So I'm not sure that conversation happened. However, this will lead into, I lied, we're going to do one more quick question. Okay. Baza O'Donnell asks, what sport would A beat you at?
Archery.
Archery, that's probably
probably darts. More than likely any shooting competitions. However, it was biathlon. I think I'm going to have the edge in the speed time finish with the skiing.
No question. Have you been skiing? I just don't know.
Have I been cross-country skiing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I grew up in Michigan. I've been cross-country skiing.
That's an unusual.
I thought it was a smart-ass question.
I guess, yeah, if you're from Michigan. I was like, sometimes, some things, there's an entry level of access that you
darts,
have to do.
And we know darts, shooting, archery, Any target-related sports?
Yeah. So, and that's it. Really, that's it. I am not very sporty. I was not allowed to participate in gym when I was in high school because I was born with bad kidneys, and the school administration doesn't want any kind of that heat. So for a while, I just had to change into my uniform and sit on the bleachers. But eventually, I got to do an independent study, and I got to do archery because that there's no chance of, I mean, I guess you could somehow get shot with an arrow, but it's an individual sport. And I was allowed to do that for credit instead. And I really liked it. And I did really well at it. And then we found out when we met Chris Grawl, his weapons and munitions expert, on the Rookie Tailgate Tour in Jacksonville, Florida, we went and shot guns with Chris Grawl. And I thought I was going to show up and just, at the time, I barely knew Scott, and, I was like, okay, so just like everything else on that tour, I'll drop you off, I'll wait, check in at work, whatever, and then you'll do your thing. And Chris was like, no, we're all shooting, so we shot too. And Scott, when we were walking out, he's like, you could have told me you were a better shot than I was. Yeah. I was like, one, wouldn't know that, and two, didn't know that. I didn't know that because I didn't know that the accuracy that you practice forever in archery, if you're somewhat familiar, which I'm not terribly familiar with guns, but if you're at least somewhat familiar, some of that accuracy will come back. So that would be the only thing I would be mad at.
Chris Grawl apologized for not having an AK-47 because his nickname was A to the K.
That's
and
true.
Then the second thing he wasn't liking, he's like, hey, gotta get a gat back, and he had a gun right for her, and he made her call it a gat the whole time.
That's true.
And then the magazine, that was a baby pickle. So it was a gat and a baby pickle the whole time. A did great. We've actually gone shooting here in San Diego a couple of times, and it's pretty solid. Pretty solid. It's pretty solid.
And he took lessons, and I went a couple of times with the same, to the same guy. And I think probably that's at a gun store in San Diego.
Glock store, San Diego.
Yeah. And so I think that there are a lot of folks who show up, predominantly female people. Predominantly women will show up to that store and want to own a pretty gun or something. They've got paint guns.
They powder coat on command. You get a custom made.
You can get,
it's ridiculous.
You can get a leopard spotted. What?
That I did not know.
Yeah, they're at that same. Oh, and so we go in and they're like, and we're ready to shoot and whatever. And then we go in and shoot, and Matt, his instructor, is all like, "She's not bad. She's not good, but she's not bad." I think better. And then he was like, "Are you interested in getting a gun? We have," and he did this. He said, "We have any gun you want. I don't think you probably want a girl gun." I didn't mean to call it a girl gun like that. Like he was so excited to share with me. I'm like, I'm good.
Great
I'm good.
All right, let's ride this out. And now that I'm full on plant-based beef jerky.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Michael Deschamps. Nice to see you.
Michael Deschamps, what's up, buddy?
I think so. We're actually signing off right now. Like I said, things will be different moving forward for the next couple of maybe 3 months. You'll see weirdness. Next week, I think we'll probably do a tour of this place since you've not really seen it. But we'll keep you informed. We'll keep you posted. We'll do the best we can. If you guys have any questions, as ever, info@emptyset. And I think that's it for now. Info@emptyset for any need you have. If you have content ideas for SIGLERinPLACE, if you have questions that you didn't get answered tonight or you think of in the next little while, that's it.
And we will be back. We're back Wednesday, March 30th, 2022, which is Virtual Vacation Day.
Oh, yeah, you guys. I want you guys to send in photos to info@emptyset of you on your favorite vacation or your favorite photo of yourself on vacation or something like that.
Favorite vacay photos. Let's do it.
And I'm not sure if we'll get to it next week if we do the tour, but we'll figure it out because I think like a set of photos of all of us favorite vacations would be really fun.
One favorite vacation pick, though. We're not going to do 5. One. Pick you're going to have to work at it, sweat it out. Put in the work, feel the burn. Feel the burn.
And if you can't choose a favorite one and you send several, I will choose a favorite one.
Hit it, kid.
And after that, we will see you next week. And until then, we absolutely want you to stay safe.
We want you to stay smart.
Want you to stay science. Watch the trends. Going back.
Make sure you're listening to people who are measuring poop water, because apparently that's where the magic is. The people who measure poop water know when the next wave is coming. And for the love of science and the love of poop water, stay informed. Baby, you ready to tell these guys a kiss
We
off
do.
into
We
the
love
sky?
you. Happy birthday, Melissa. Happy birthday, Steve. Hope you guys both had great birthdays, and
What was
we
it,
will
Professor
see.
what pants again, Professor?
Was it Silly Britches?
Silly Britches.
Silly Britches.
Professor
Right,
Silly
right,
Britches.
right,
Good night,
right.
Professor Silly Britches.
And we will tell our special friend. I won't pinch her, but I'll tell her.
Here we go. And...